Hello, gentlemen. Excited to welcome you both to Association Transformation. Elisa Pratt, Brewer Pratt Solutions, Andrew Chamberlain, Elevated. Hello, nice to see you, my fellow co-host.
Good to see you. How are you doing today, this morning, this afternoon? How are you doing right now?
Don't worry about my time zone. Let's just get
Yeah.
straight to it because I feel like I get to just kind of watch two old friends, two fraternity
All
brothers,
right.
two
Okay. Yeah. I wonder where you
colleagues
were
come
going with
back
that then.
together.
And when you were saying two old
Did
white
I say
guys,
old?
just two pale male and stale guys just chewing the fat.
You know what, that I wrote that in the talking points for you, but you didn't have to say it. You didn't have to say it. But no, let's get to it. A lot of exciting things to talk about. But Gordon Glenister, hello, how are you?
Lovely to meet you and really excited to be on the show.
Absolutely, CEO, founder, membership world. Gosh, this is a huge. I feel like you're on the. Well, you guys don't have Mount Rushmore. You have who are like your founding fathers of the association space in the UK.
Yeah, Gordon. Gordon's one of them. Gordon's
That's
one of them.
right. That's
He
what.
is. We don't have four of them. We just have Gordon engraved everywhere. You just have pictures of him, and I was going to say the Queen, but that doesn't happen anymore.
Well, I do have
Yeah.
my own mugs. I do have my own mugs.
Oh my God, you do have your own mugs. Where did I put it? Because I've
What?
got one. Do you know what? It's in the
Yeah.
dishwasher.
So he's
I
using
was.
it. At least he's using it.
Oh, I know. At least I'm using it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I can imagine you guys getting into a lot of trouble in this sector in the UK. I want to hear all the stories, Gordon, all the stories.
Well, not all of them, surely.
No, not all of them, and
We
all
only
all
have like
after this
22
recording.
listeners, so it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. But we actually did invite you for a real purpose, other than just helping me roast Andrew at any given time. You have an exciting event coming up in January.
Mm.
And something I love the word hackathon, but a membership world AI hackathon has an even more exciting connotation to it.
Mm.
We've dabbled a little bit in AI this year, Andrew. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
has
Yeah,
Gordon
yeah.
invited you to speak at this thing, or are you attending as a note taker?
As a note taker.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. Andrew's very much involved in it.
Is he?
But very much so, yeah, from a speaker point of view. I mean, shall I just give you a bit of background as to what
Please.
membership world is all about, and then I can put some context in it. So yeah, I'm a former CEO of a trade association, so hence the reason for the mugs. I used to run the British Promotional Merchandise Association for 11 years. Thought I'd do it for two. And got so connected, and I really loved the industry. I loved what we were doing there. It was really exciting. We went on a journey of change, from Promotional Products Week to the first industry show to our magazine, lots of exciting things and initiatives. And during the pandemic, obviously, a lot of associations, were full steam, but also challenged because they couldn't generate revenue from events. So I decided to get together with some of my association friends and colleagues that were immediately in my wheelhouse. And we started to do these little Zoom roundtable events just to share ideas. And that's been the principle of everything that we do at Membership World, by the way, is peer sharing is core. Um, I think we've gone past being lectured to all day long at conferences, which is the premise of what we wanted to try and do when we built out the community. So we run roundtable events online mostly. And the reason that we do them online is because we focus on C-suite, which are largely very busy people, and to get them out of their office because it's not just the event itself, it's the travel there and the travel back, and whilst some of them may do that, that a lot I just haven't got the time. I know as a former CEO, I had that problem.
Yeah.
But dipping in for an hour about a core subject that is interesting, we did one actually yesterday about membership engagement scoring. And we had some really fascinating discussions because so often when you're running an association, you're very focused on your own industry and that's all you see. And it's not until you hear from other people about what they're doing around membership scoring or whatever, you can learn so much. So we do that, and we also do membership world briefings, and that's where we use an expert from the outside or one of our vetted partners to speak for 20 minutes on a subject, and then we have 40 minutes of discussion about it. But what's coming up, as you rightly said, in January is a significant event for us because I wanted to not only address AI, but I wanted to create something that was very practically driven. So I think that the biggest challenge for a lot of people in this sector is a lot of people are talking about it, and obviously people are using ChatGPT at all different levels. But I think there's a lack of confidence and there's a lack of education around its real application around membership engagement, membership recruitment, membership growth, social media, content creation, a whole manner of different things.
Hmm.
So we thought, well, why don't we actually try and solve those problems that membership associations have on a day-to-day basis, but look at doing that with some of the tools that are available, some of which are free, some of which are paid for. But so the event that we've got in January is going to be a number of experts initially sharing some of those tools, what they look like and how they can be used. And then in the afternoon, Andrew and I are going to put that to practical use. So we're going to have questions on individual tables, round tables, and we're going to look at how we best solve those problems. And what I think is really important, and perhaps I'm speaking for myself, when I want to learn about something, I don't always just want to learn from a video. I actually want to discuss it with the people doing something uh, like me. So can you
Yeah.
imagine a number of senior people round the table saying, right, we've got this thing, we've got to look at membership growth. What tools have we got available to us? We've got half an hour to come up with some ideas amongst us. And can you imagine, let's just say we have 10 different tables all coming up with different challenges. And even if for some people they don't actually do it, but they start to have a discussion about it and they have a play with some of the different tools. What we've done is we've moved the conversation on into a practical use, and it gives them confidence because that's something that I think is definitely missing.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're spot on there. I think, I mean, I've had, Lisa and I were at a conference earlier this year where, people, there was a demonstration of tools and then you could, pragmatic sort of application of it.
Hmm.
It was a microcosm of the what we're doing with the hackathon, but I think it did demonstrate to me that there is some genuine need, appetite to just be uber practical around artificial intelligence now because
Yeah.
we ran a session last week on the white paper we published around artificial intelligence and strategic planning, and you just know the feedback we were getting during the session is that I feel swamped. People feel swamped. They
They
feel,
do. They do.
and you just letters and words are just being thrown at me, and I don't understand where to start. And so I think for me, what we're proposing to do, that kind of just sit down as a group, as a team, bounce off each other, and
Yeah.
actually answer a question that we don't necessarily know the answers to.
No,
With
no,
these are
no.
challenges that we, yeah, that's key to it, isn't it? Is that it's
It,
not,
it, re-
yeah,
it really, really is. And by the way, sometimes people say to me, who is this aimed at? And do you know what?
mm,
Everybody.
Right.
And that includes CEOs right the way down to membership managers. Because I think sometimes you can have conferences that are very targeted to a specific area. We're also inviting suppliers to the industry as well. So rather than just say, oh, you guys can sit outside, you can pay and sponsor the event. No, no, because they've got as much to learn about the sector as anybody else. And one of the things that's core to membership world is actually treating suppliers as equals. They have a huge amount of knowledge, and when I mean that, I mean consultants, I mean CRM experts, I mean legal experts. Why should they be, seen as people that just sponsor events? Why should they not actually feel valued that they can contribute a lot to the conversation and learn,
yeah,
of course, at the same
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
time?
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
But I was at actually a masterclass a few weeks ago, and I was really inspired by just a prompt. So this particular company had created a formula around prompting, and it just blew my mind. I thought, wow, this is really, really, really good. So he only talked largely about, just doing a different type of prompt. because for many of us, what we started was, well, let's play around with ChatGPT. Let's do a couple of lines. But this guy was literally putting a detailed prompt, and of course, the better the instruction, the
Yeah.
better the result.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, what I love about this, and I love that you tell people to bring their laptops and that this is going to be hands-on. I imagine planning, it's going to change even in the content you put forth, and the problems people talk about are going to evolve and change
Mm-hmm.
just over the next 8 to 12, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think about this and how interesting it might be to offer a similar type workshop for your members to learn from each other. So again, we're membership professionals, we're association professionals, but
Mhm.
have this at your membership event so that they can have the same type of conversations about, about what they do, about their specialties, about application within their industry. I love to
Yeah.
borrow
Yeah. I love
great
that.
ideas and
Yeah.
bring them over to the other side because we need to learn, but what value in this AI world can we give to our members?
I love that
Absolutely
idea.
right. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that idea as well. So what you're saying is using what if they've come to the event, they like what they see, rinse and repeating it for their own sector.
Correct. If they're electricians, if they're history teachers, if they are longshoremen, I don't, whatever it is,
Right.
bring this to their industry and let
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
dissect issues and hack solutions to what they're facing. Because it's the
We've
same.
had
We're
some
all
really
overwhelmed.
we've had some really good interest, Elisa, actually, and I think it's one of the things that Andrew knows about me is in the nicest possible way, I'm a disruptor. I like to do things that are different because otherwise, if we just do the same as everybody else, the associations have got a number of different options to join and be part of and communities, and the last thing I want to do is swamp them. I want to make sure that they know exactly what membership world is and why it's different. And that doesn't mean to say that they can't join other organizations or communities at all. It just means that, what we've got to be is clear as to what we do.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
that's great. And don't worry, I'm not able to attend. I have a conflict. I'm sure my invitation was
Well, it's funny
in the
you
mail.
say that. I knew you were about to say that, actually. I could sense it. My spidey senses were tingling. I thought, oh, she's going to jump in here now and start criticizing me.
It's at a
And
private members club, so I probably wouldn't even be able to get in.
oh no, it's not a gentleman's members club.
What?
It's just a
That's
members club. There are other types of members clubs in London, but actually,
I'm sure you know them all. I don't.
I hate us. I hate it when we argue in front of everybody. But I was going to talk to you about it, but we'll do it later on after we finish this recording.
Sure,
Okay?
sure. Well, I think it's an important reminder, whomever's hosting it, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person. I too love the practical. I've been to many a session where it's this kind of high level introduction to AI, and I hope we're all beyond
Yeah.
that, or at least brave enough to move to the next level.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we are all beyond that though, because it's interesting if you talk about the piece that we focus on around strategic planning. A lot of people are saying to us, examples, could you share something with us? And we're having to explain to people, well, no,
It's not like that. It's
we're at the very, very front of this.
We really are.
We're just staying ahead of it and no more, because it's moving, it's evolving so rapidly, and I think that's why the practical experience is so important, because actually there aren't a huge amount of examples that we can readily share out there.
There are very few. I mean, to be honest, I've been doing some work actually with an AI platform. I actually moderated a panel only yesterday morning around that. Now they specialize in the regulatory area, but what this particular organization does really, really well is it creates a whole digital worker framework for particularly in the financial sector and other regulatory areas. But what it also does is it creates workers that every time they do something, they're checking with the regulation. So they're not just literally
Okay.
doing work.
yeah,
What one of the questions I asked yesterday was, you clearly, particularly when you think about financial markets, there's a lot of risk associated with that. So, I guess there is across all areas. So what people are doing is they're trialing in small ways, different small projects, and then actually, comparing that amongst the workflow from an
Yeah,
existing
yeah, yeah.
worker. And then, because I'll tell you, the most important thing, guys, is internal buy-in. Whether it's board members, shareholders, employees. Um, I also find that a lot of employees that don't understand it are nervous about it. That, will this replace my job? Will
Mm,
this, I
yeah,
don't know enough about it. So therefore, I'm just going to get on with my day job.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what you don't get is people that are prepared to trial it. So a lot of this is about creating leadership and allowing people the chance to practice, but there are some absolute safeguards that they need to be aware of. I mean, I spoke to an association, I won't say who, but they were related in the financial sector, and they told me, I was actually speaking to a data controller, and they said that what had happened is that this particular individual had uploaded a significant number of membership data records to do some
oh,
analysis using a data tool, not realizing, of course, it was an open source and try
it's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you can't claim ignorance because that is clearly
yeah.
breaking GDPR laws. So
yeah, yeah,
there are inherent risks as well.
Well, and
yeah.
that's my question for you, Gordon, as you've gotten into this space. We talked about it as algorithm aversion, and I think there's a need for leadership, but there's a need for credibility. When
Mm.
you as a staff person are using AI and your work product is therefore uh, better because of it, let's say, how do you with pride say AI helped me with this? How do you get the rest of your team to be comfortable with that, or your board to trust that that's okay, versus some of the risks that you talk about? I feel like people don't trust AI. I feel like we have to use it in secret and then pretend like the work
Mm.
product was ours.
Yeah, yeah. So I think a lot of this comes down to education, 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 and I think having experts. One of the questions I asked of this panel as well was, do you think we're going to have AI in the same way that we have data controllers in organizations? Do you think we're going to have AI controllers? And this legal expert said, yes, maybe that's the case, but it's because AI touches so much of our workplace. It's important that you're going to need to have specialisms in each of those areas. So I think you cannot ignore AI at all in this sector, otherwise you will absolutely be left behind. So I think my lesson to people is just playing around with it, start using some tools, which is what we're obviously hoping to do in January. But largely, and even if it's the free tools, even if it's
Mm.
just having a look, and I would say to association leaders, can you give some time for your staff to do that? Don't expect them to do that in their own time. Why don't you do a lunch and learn every week, and you actually think about trialing a tool together as a team?
Yeah,
Well, and I think with
absolutely.
education has to come communication. Here's where it
Absolutely.
worked for me. Here's where it had issues. Here's where it was accurate. Here's where it wasn't.
Right.
And we have to be transparent in that if we ever want to get to a place of maybe not complete trust, but more elevated credibility for the work products that come out of it.
100%. Yeah.
Plus, I think the fact that the three of us are talking about AI right now, and none of us are technologists. We're membership professionals. We're not technologists, and I think people need to recognize that as well. I think part of the feeling of the aversion, the worry, the unknown, is that it's perceived wrongly as the kind of domain of the technology specialists. But actually, I think, and again, I think who said this? It might have. Maybe it was one of you two said it to me, or maybe someone else. Could be. Said, actually, I don't need to know what's going on in the background. I don't need to know how AI works. I just no more than I know how my servers work, or the cloud works, or my phone works behind the scenes. I just need to know how I use it. And again, I think we've been in. and not in a way we've, and it's because not in a way we've ever experienced this before, because when the internet came out and we all started using email, it was a far longer transition. I mean, I don't know, I remember having a training course in university on how to use Explorer and what was the internet. And when I started work, we were all still using brown envelopes, sticking your memos in and writing who it was going to and all that. It was a slow transition.
Fax machine. Whatever happened to the fax
Oh,
machine?
the fax machine. Do you know, I never used I always
I
ended up phoning people on fax machines and then going, oh my God.
But why have they still got it on email footers? It's crazy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
But I think, now it's all getting, because the pace of change is so radical, so much faster than it was, 20, 25 years ago when we were talking about the internet,
Mm,
that it's all getting a bit jumbled up. It's like, I
yeah.
don't really care how it works. I just want to know that A, it works, and how do I drive it?
100%.
Yeah.
And I said a minute ago, confidence is at the core of this. So, even if you're just using it as ideation, even if you're just using it in the smallest possible way, I mean, I've started to create some video content on TikTok, which is crazy because I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because I'm surrounded with people that are influencers. I've also got involved in the influencer marketing industry as well. And if I'm honest, I just felt this imposter syndrome, which is crazy because I'm a speaker, I'm confident, but actually I thought, oh goodness, I'm never going to get to these views. Anyway, do you know what? I just thought I'm going to go in my lane. I'm going to go and do my thing and not worry about anybody else. And slowly but slowly, I've got each time, each video I do, I tweak and get better. But you know what? I'm using AI to create some of the content. So I'm finding the hook, like
Mm-hmm.
which are the most engaging hooks on influencer marketing. I put that into Chat GPT.
Right.
What I then do, I then use I said, look, please create a script for me that answers this question in no more than 700 characters, because I know that will be less than a minute. I then transport that into Teleprompter, which is a free video automating tool. And then I talk as though it was completely natural, and all of that's done in a very short period of time. And the reason I say that is because I'm a bit of a technophobe, and yet I've been able to use it myself.
And now you've
What?
given away all of Association Transformation's trade secrets about
Right.
how we actually record these podcasts. The teleprompters are there, just off screen.
Right. I mean, the lighting people, the makeup people, they're
That's
all,
right.
in the background.
And listeners are saying to themselves, "My God, this is scripted."
Oh, if only, if only.
Yes, yes.
But I think that, again, being a non-technologist, I just wrote a job description for a client that were doing their executive director search. And in that required experience or required knowledge, I don't write MS Office anymore. I don't write certain programs. There's a need for a certain amount of comfortability with technology and ability to learn and embrace opportunities. I'm not going to list different platforms. I'm not going to say you have to know how to use this, that, or the other because it changes too fast.
Of course.
What I need is the openness to it, the curiosity and willingness to engage with it. And we all have a YouTube degree. We just go to YouTube and watch the video for how to use something new. And I think for that reason, it's a really exciting time. It will scare some. It will put others ahead of those who choose not to.
But I think here's the thing, right? I think associations have a responsibility to do this,
Yeah.
not just because it's good to do, but if you want to create influence in your industry, if you want to show real leadership, then you need to be doing it yourself. Because
Yeah.
actually, members look up to their association body for trends, innovation, what's going on. So, are you a master of content or are you a servant? And for me, a good association is leading by example.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, I think,
which,
oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say, which goes right back to that point that Lisa, you made, 20 minutes ago about actually this model, this hackathon model, being one that
Yeah.
associations can, which by the way, listeners, we've copyrighted that, okay? So don't go doing it, all right, without talking to one of us first.
Oh, so funny. But I think you're right. I mean, and I think about the next generation of member, that early career professional that's coming into the sector, and they will quickly determine whether your association is at the front, is the trendsetter, is the leader in the industry, or is behind. And
100%.
AI and
100%.
content and social media and all those things are part of that persona that
Yeah.
your organization has. And you can either win that battle or not by how you present yourself and
Yeah.
how you communicate those experiments that you're undertaking for the good of the association, for the good of the industry. Just try
Yeah.
it. Be okay to fail, but I really want to get to a point where people are more willing to say, look what I did with AI. Look what AI did right. Look what AI did
Yeah.
wrong.
Hmm.
Instead of seeing it as, I have to put this transcript together and pretend that it was mine.
And I
Yeah.
think
Well, I mean,
that's
I was
oh,
just going to say one of the biggest problems associations have is recruiting young people, because they're not dynamic enough. They're old school in some cases. You talked about the YouTube University. That's because young people will go there as a natural place to go. So being innovative and embracing technology is a great way to win over that audience as well as leading by example.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be more than having an Instagram page. That
Oh, absolutely.
has to be more than that. But so let's see, this is Wednesday, the 29th of January, early next year. Excited to hear how it goes and see all the solutions and challenges that you guys get to dissect. Any other commitments to AI programming that Membership World is making for 2025?
Well, certainly we're looking at a comprehensive events calendar at the moment for 2025, and AI will definitely feature in those. We already, the most attended roundtable events, I have to say, were those related to AI,
Yeah.
some of which were partner led, some not, but equally. There's still this massive learning from leaders right the way
Yeah.
through to sort of junior staff. And so I hope when we do this event, we'll get a lot from what we're doing, and this sort of format of bringing your laptops and starting to talk about stuff. We could potentially explore the idea of a social media hackathon. It could be all sorts of others where we're bringing people together. I mean, funny enough, I was at an event only this morning, and it was a breakfast. There were no people present. There was just all brands, just all founders from retail brands, just talking about different different challenges, and the energy amongst everybody was just fabulous. And I just thought, you know what, we need to do more in, discussing and sharing and opening up. I think because of that, we share more and we receive more.
mhm.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to some conferences and it's, as you said earlier, it's just content overload. And then what happens is we go back because if we've got too much going on, we don't implement hardly any of it. And you think,
Yeah.
well, what a waste.
Right. I don't need necessarily a list of new great ideas. I need ways to implement those ideas. And AI may
100%.
be
Exactly.
that pathway. But what this reminds me of is how important this same type of opportunity is for your members. All
Mm,
of these same challenges are happening in their professional space,
Yes.
mm,
in their fields and their specialties. These challenges are not unique to associations or membership bodies. So figure out as you're learning AI how to create entry points for your members.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the point in our program where I ask if you have any embarrassing stories about Andrew.
Oh. Um, have I got
No,
any?
no,
No.
you don't. No,
Our
No?
relationship is too fresh, so
yeah,
I haven't I
it's
haven't gone back
blossoming.
that far.
It's
Oh,
blossoming. We don't
it's
need to worry about
blossoming.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I expect some good ones after the 29th of January then. So Check it out, visit Membership World, and learn about the AI Hackathon in January 2025. Any final words, Andrew? Do you want to plug this and your role in it before we go?
Well, no, I mean, I'll be chairing the afternoon session where I'll be, challenging. Well, I'll be presenting, challenging the questions. As you say, I'm not thinking about it until January the 28th because whatever challenge I come up with today won't necessarily have any relevance in 8 weeks' time. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to being part of it, and thank you to Gordon for inviting me to join. I really do appreciate it, and we are going to talk offline, but I do anticipate Elisa will be there as well. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, Gordon, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Association Transformation family. Keep up the great work. Keep inspiring the association sector. And until next time, put your members and your mission first.